Good evening and welcome to our show, Brookfield Public Advocate. I am your host, Bruce Senig. I want to take just a minute to remind our viewers of why we do this show. Our mission statement reads, "We will examine issues of importance to Brookfield's residents and the surrounding communities, which are sometimes underreported. We will provide a venue to those who feel they are underrepresented." It goes on to read, "Many politicos and commission board members have a public persona and forum at their meetings. This venue can offer an opportunity to those with a differing opinion on crucial matters." I have to admit, when I was working on this mission statement back in January, never did I believe I'd see a situation as we have with the Greenridge water issue. That leads us to tonight's discussion with our guest, Suzanne Holko. First, a little background. Suzanne and her husband have been residents in the Greenridge section of Brookfield for 16 years now. For most of those years, her family has had to deal with water issues surrounding their community. She's been very involved in seeking a solution to these problems for well over a year. She has taken on the role of a spokesperson for the 80% of the area residents that have reached out to the Board of Selectmen requesting that United Water be allowed to complete the plan that was started and who has invested more than $1 million towards its completion. She has attended the hearings at the DPUC, which is now referred to as the PURA, in New Britain, and has been instrumental in bringing awareness to the needs of the Greenridge community. A teacher by trade, she holds a degree in early childhood education. Suzanne's true aspiration in life is to become a published writer. Maybe her trials and tribulations with clean water can be the subject of her first book. Suzanne, welcome to the show and thank you for coming.
Thank you, Bruce, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Suzanne, please describe the problem as you see it and how it affects your daily lives.
Well, water. We can take it for granted, and we buy our water. I don't cook with water. We bathe in the water, and now that the water, it's been trucked in for a number of months since we had oil in one of our wells. Let's say it's a little bit better than it was, but it's not an everlasting solution. But not having drinking water, not turning on the faucet and using it, having to buy bottled water, the cost, but I think what overrides that is the stress. The stress in dealing with this, the stress with trying to be heard, to be understood, for someone to embrace our plight and walk in our shoes.
Yeah. How long has it affected you in your area, and how long have you known about the problem?
Well, Greenridge has had water problems for a number of years. Most recently, the uranium in the water has been the top concern, and that's probably been in the past year and a half, if not more, give or take. But 3.5 years ago, United Water was appointed by the DPUC to take over our water system in Greenridge, and I think they've done so very efficiently. But it's been again in the past year and a half that things have really come to a head.
Yeah. I'd like to ask now about officials at the state level, because we'll be getting into the local level shortly. On the state level, have they done anything to either help you or listen to your concerns, or are they mired in bureaucracy?
I can't say that they have listened, and we've been in touch. Different people have been in touch from the governor on down, both relative to our former governor, Jody Rell, a Brookfield resident, and our current governor, Daniel Malloy, and it's been passed down to our local representative, David Scribner, and that's where we are.
Yeah. What have you done to get state officials to have a sense of urgency, in dealing with this problem? I mean, after all, we are talking about contaminated water, known carcinogens.
Phone calls, I mean, we've even been on the news with this. I don't know why we haven't heard more from our representatives on a state level, because although this is a, let's say, local issue to Brookfield, I believe it should be watched over by the state to make sure that our representatives are doing their job.
Yeah. Do you know if other folks in town really know about your predicament? Do you think they care?
I think other people do know. They're more aware now than they were, say, 6 months ago, even 3 months ago. And we've been fortunate to have people outside of Greenridge support us. But I think it could be more well-known. We've tried through the media, I mean, newspapers and on the Brookfield Patch, and as well as we had Channel 10 back in December cover us to some degree. But I think that we've tried so hard to put our needs out there, and we just have to keep plugging away. It's been very, very frustrating and stressful.
I can just sense that, with your presence.
And I just wanted to add too that people in the community certainly have been very understanding and showed compassion for our situation, and it's hard for them to understand what is going on.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you recall with my failed attempt last year for state representative, but I just think it's unconscionable that this goes on this amount of time and these people aren't being held accountable. It just, and full disclosure, I've had my water tested for uranium. I don't live in Greenridge. To use the expression, I don't have a dog in this fight, but I just think it's unconscionable that this has been allowed to go on as long as, and the way the politics have injected itself in the last year. I've spoken to several people when I've read some of the local newspapers. I even spoke to someone about a week and a half ago before our taping. By the way, we're taping August 31st regarding Aquarian's plan, and much to my dismay, because again, it doesn't affect me. I don't live in your area. I actually live on the other side of town, but still, you're a fellow human being, and to me, government's first role is to protect its citizenry instead of get in the way of protecting its citizenry. But this individual that I spoke to me, felt that I felt that they were actually in favor of Aquarian's plan as long as the pump station wasn't near their house. And I don't know, I just, that kind of disappointed me. Suzanne, would you tell our viewers why you want United as your water company, and do you know any people that have Brookfield Water or Aquarian as, for their water company?
Let me start by saying I know of people who have had Brookfield Water, and honestly, I can't say I have had much positive feedback. I don't know people who have Aquarian as their water company or water provider, but United Water, who came into a can of worms when they took over our water system. We've had many, many troubles, and they've been there night, day, in between, and they're, as I mentioned before, they're bringing in water by the truckload. I don't know how many truckloads a week, the cost, into our community so that we have clean water. And I've been in touch with them. You can call them and ask questions, and they're there. And I just say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Meaning that we have United, and why take that away from them? I don't understand that. I just don't think it's good business.
Sounds like they're providing good customer service.
I believe so.
Anybody should appreciate, I would think. Mm-hmm. Myself as an outsider, again, in a little bit of a different part of town, to me, this seems just a rehash of the Brookfield Water Company's bid last year. Could you please put up the slide first with the letter dated October 20th on the screen? I just want to point out, and this is all public information, some of the information that we'll be putting up on the screen can be found on the state's website, the DPUC, and I'll give a docket number shortly where you can find a lot of this. But as you can see, this is a letter from the first selectman of Brookfield, dated October 20th of last year, to Brookfield Water Company and Rural Water Company. And this document is available, but I just want to hit on a couple of points because we've got several other slides that we're going to bring up, and I'm sure, as you can see, the print is kind of small on the screen. But it's asking that these two individuals from these water companies, to date, the town has spent approximately $20,000 to support this effort, meaning at that time, the Brookfield Water Company's effort. Now, I don't know all the regulations. I've spoken to people on the Board of Finance and other individuals. I'm not sure that he was even was able to, I want to be careful how I phrase this, but if he really should have even used the town money since it was not in the budget, that $20,000. In the third paragraph of the letter, he talks about in order to be certain that I have adequate funding to prepare for December 15th, that was where there was a big meeting with state people, and to help offset the unplanned expenses that have been incurred, I'm reaching out to both of you to contribute $15,000 each to support this effort. Needless to say, both of your companies will gain substantial revenue if the Brookfield, quote, Brookfield option is selected by DPUC. And this is the one that if the situation weren't so sad, I'd almost chuckle at. I remind you that the town has put both of your companies on the map, so to speak. We've been generous with our support and our dollars. The next paragraph. Should the two of you mutually decide to allocate the $30,000 between yourselves on other than a 50-50 basis, that's okay with me. And in the last paragraph, this should not be a difficult decision for either of you. Now, I don't know, to me, I had a show earlier on ethics. Actually, another show is in the works on ethics. And I know we just can't use the so-called smell test, but that just doesn't sound right to me. And Suzanne, I know you can't get into Bill Davidson's mind, but do you wonder sometimes why it almost seems he has a personal stake himself or campaign backers in this Brookfield Water Company / aquarium proposal?
I wonder a lot of things at times because the focus doesn't appear to be on the well-being of the people of Greenridge. It doesn't appear to be about our priorities. Other priorities seem to have taken precedence over our need for clean, potable water as soon as possible. And I don't think I stand alone in questioning what is going on.
Next, I'd like to have the control room put up, I have a copy, and again, this is on the state's website, of the joint stipulation between all the interested parties that I'd like to go over. If you could please put up the first page. And just as a little piece of information, as I mentioned, today being August 31st, yesterday I called the first selectman of Newtown, Pat Lodra, and spoke with her. And although I think that she's been quoted, and I wanted to make sure I got the characterization correct on this. Although if the aquarium plan had been available months and months ago, she actually said she kind of prefers that, but she signed the document and she's going to stick by this document that we're going to put up on the screen shortly. She even brought up the word ethical to, if she were to, not honor it, she even brought in the word ethical into the conversation, which I found interesting.